Hello and welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at some of the upcoming Transformers Studio Series figures that were on show as part of Shizuoka's Hobby Show 2019, which is currently taking place in Japan. The reasoning behind why I'm doing this particular video is because some of these specific figures have actually gone through some color changes which weren't apparent in the official images, most noticeably the Jetwing Optimus Prime, which I'll discuss in more detail right now. Kicking things off, we're going to be taking a look at the upcoming Studio Series Voyager class long haul. Now this particular figure looks absolutely amazing in this particular image. As you can see, it is so much more accurate than that original 2009 Revenge of the Fallen version that we've gotten, so we can really see that these Constructicons are definitely very consistent in terms of their quality. Rampage was really good quality as well as scrap metal, and long haul seems to follow suit. He is packed with loads of detail and the head sculpt looks absolutely magnificent on this particular release. Now I am to believe that this particular figure will be slightly smaller than other Voyager figures, but considering that this is actually going to turn into 3 different components, it's really amazing. Here we have an image of Longhaul in his dumpster truck alt mode, and this too looks really awesome as well. Initially I didn't think it was as detailed as it should have been, but upon looking at some images of the actual prop used in the movie, I can definitely see that this vehicle mode is actually more accurate than the original Revenge of the Fallen figure. Once again, this is yet to be another fantastic release as part of the Studio Series, and these Constructicons are definitely keeping to a very high consistent level in terms of their quality. Whilst on the topic of Constructicons, here we have Constructicon Hightower. Now when Hightower and Longhaul are released, we will actually have 4 out of the 8 Constructicons, so we'll really begin to gather a sense of what Devastator will begin to look like when he's fully combined. This particular figure looks absolutely amazing on its own. It is one of the most unique and very obscure designs that we've ever gotten for a Transformers Decepticon. As you can see, he does seem to be this kind of T-Rex-esque type of Constructicon, and I really do like the aesthetic as well as the silhouette of the figure. I really like the color distribution. The black and the yellow really contrast very well with each other, and the transformation definitely seems to be very interesting. I also like how he's got these very kind of comedic T-Rex type of arms protruding from beneath him. It really does look very awesome, and overall I definitely think that this will make for a very interesting release into the Studio Series toy line. There has never been a Decepticon that looks remotely like Hightower, and this figure will definitely stand out from the rest of the Decepticon team and will probably be the most distinguishable Constructicon out of the entire line. Turning to the alternate mode of Hightower, he is yet again another construction vehicle, so will look really well next to your other Constructicons. As you can see here, we do have a comparison between Hightower and Longhaul as well as Rampage. You can't really see the difference in scale between Hightower and Longhaul, but the scaling is definitely apparent between Rampage and Hightower, and I really do think these particular figures scale really well. I definitely think that this figure will scale impeccably well with the recently released deluxe class scrap metal. These two to me definitely kind of look very similar to one another, and I do believe that's probably due to the fact that these two will actually combine together in order to form the arm of Devastator. Scrap metal formed the fingers, whereas this section is going to kind of form the upper bicep area as well as create the thumb section, so this will definitely look like a really awesome and very unified piece when it is assembled together. I really do like how they're actually going to collapse the treads in order for the vehicle mode to look very accurate. As you can see, there is no obscure nor abstract looking design in the vehicle mode. It looks very reminiscent of what you would expect from a construction vehicle. Turning to another character that is in a sense a triple changer, here we have the new and upcoming Transformers Studio Series Drift. Now this is obviously based on Drift's appearance in Age of Extinction, where he transforms into the Bugatti Veyron as well as a helicopter. This particular figure focuses primarily on the helicopter alternate mode, so unfortunately will not actually be a triple changer, but nevertheless it looks really awesome. Now the head sculpt to me seems to be the exact same head sculpt that we've just recently got on the Studio Series number 36 that came with the Dinobot. However, the swords that he actually comes with appear to be a completely brand new mold. I did initially think that they would just release that new sword they created for the Drift based on his appearance from the last night, but seeing as these actually are going to plug into the propeller of the helicopter mode, I can see why they needed to remold them. As you can see, he does have the kind of propeller section situated on his arm. However, from analysing some in-packaged image of this particular figure, this section is actually removable to allow for a more sleeker, more movie accurate looking Drift. The legs on this particular figure seem to be slightly remolded from the Studio Series Deluxe Class Dropkick. They do look very reminiscent in design, however they do seem to have some slight remolding, and they do have the added on missile pods, which as you saw in the in-packaged image are actually removable. Here we have an image of Drift in his helicopter mode, and once again I am thoroughly impressed with the overall look. It does look very similar to that of a G.I. Joe helicopter, and as stated previously, the katanas will actually form the rotor blade, so this is a really good use of Hasbro utilising the weapons and integrating them very successfully into the aesthetic of the helicopter mode. I really do like the transparent clear blue plastic that they've used for the cockpit, and I like how the missile pods attach to the sides in order to make this helicopter aircraft look as if though it is heavily armoured. I really do like some of the surface detailing on it, and the back metallic rotor blade that we saw Drift using as a weapon on his forearm is also apparent at the back, and it really does make this look like a very distinguishable and very unique looking helicopter mode. Next up, here we have an in-hand image of Studio Series Dropkick. This is obviously based on Dropkick's appearance when he is only in the land-based alternate mode, and this once again looks absolutely fantastic. As I've stated in previous videos, this particular figure seems to be a massive improvement over the previous Dropkick figure. This entire figure is just loaded with sculpted in surface detailing. The head sculpt looks absolutely fantastic. I really like this kind of section they've got on the hood of the vehicle, separating the two headlights, and the torso section is fully packed out with different sculpted in detailing. The thighs are very thick and very chunky, much like we saw in the movie, as Dropkick was a very well built type of character and wasn't as spindly and as thin like we saw in the original figure of this particular release. I also really like the distribution of car parts on this particular figure as well. As you can see, the legs are very streamlined. There doesn't really appear to be much junk on them whatsoever, so once again this figure does look very athletic in its design. And here we have an image of the figure in its vehicle mode. Once again, this looks spot on to the vehicle mode that we see Dropkick obtain in the Bumblebee movie. I really do like the paint applications on this particular release, and the actual look of the vehicle too looks really awesome. It will definitely be a fantastic partner piece to put with our already released Studio Series Shatter, which is also a land-based vehicle form. If I had one complaint with this particular figure, is that I really do not like the blue plugs that are very evident on the front wheels. I really do wish that they could have perhaps painted them black, much like we see in the back section. As you can see, we can also see that the cannon will actually situate on the top of the vehicle mode in terms of weapon storage. It's not the best, but the detailing on this particular gun definitely does look spot on to the Bumblebee movie. If you can recall, this was the weapon that Dropkick used in order to vaporize the humans throughout the movie, and it does look really great. It's definitely a great improvement over the weapons that we got on the helicopter version of this particular figure. This figure is just a great looking piece all the way around, and I really can't wait for its release. Now, the final figure I'll be taking a look at in this particular video is the Studio Series Jetwing Optimus Prime. Now, this is a figure that I've actually done a lot of coverage on due to the simple fact that this figure has gone through quite a lot of changes in terms of the colouring that they've chosen to go with. As you can see here, to me they seem to be doing some kind of moulding change on the abdomen section. If you recall on some of the stock photos, it was just an entire red piece. As you can see here, it is translucent. So I really do hope that they are planning on actually casting this in a grey plastic and then painting the outer section red in order to make it look more movie accurate. An obvious sign of this is that the simple fact that this is just a prototype and that it will actually just be one base colour. I really do not like this particular figure. It is definitely a letdown to me. I think that the wings look very thin and very fragile, and I really do not like the hollow spaces in the gas canisters. The lack of paint on the guns is also such a letdown. They're not even been done in a darker type of grey plastic, which Hasbro actually have on file. It would have definitely benefited the figure if the overall look of the Jetwing as well as the guns was in this darker plastic, but nevertheless they've gone with this really cheap lighter plastic, and I really don't think it helps aid the appearance of the figure whatsoever. Now we turn to this final image. Now this final image actually shows to me that Hasbro are actually listening to the fans and making different choices about this particular release. As you can see, the trailer section has now been cast in an entire light grey plastic as opposed to the darker grey that we got on the initial stock photos. This is a massive improvement. Whilst it's not as good looking as some of the original photos that showed this having a complete silver premium paint deco, it is definitely a much improvement over the darker grey colour, as this looks a lot more accurate to the movie. As you can see from the front of the truck, it does appear to be exactly the same, so they really are just focusing primarily on getting that colouring for the trailer spot on. And if this is the type of grey colour that they choose to go with the trailer in the final release, this will definitely help me sway into liking the figure a lot more. So there you go, that is my coverage on some of the new and upcoming Transformers Studio Series figures which are set to be released later this year. Personally, I think that for the majority of them, they all look fantastic. Of course, I'll be doing reviews on all of them. I think that the 3 deluxe class figures are absolutely astounding. Dropkick is by far the best. Drift is also really good, and Hightower looks exceptionally good. Longhaul 2 looks absolutely fantastic. I definitely think he's going to probably be one of the best looking Constructicons, as he is just so accurate to the movie. As for the Jetwing Optimus, I honestly don't believe that I'll actually know what to feel about the figure until I actually have it in hand. Basing my opinions on these current photos that we have, it really isn't a release that I am looking forward to tremendously. Of course I will pick it up in order to complete the Studio Series and in order to review, but I really do not think that if you are not keen on collecting the Studio Series, that it will be one that you should pre-order right now in order to secure your place of getting it. I definitely think that it will potentially be a shelf warmer due to the simple fact that we have already gotten this particular Optimus mold very recently in the Studio Series, that being the Studio Series number 32 Voyager Optimus. This just has some slight tweaks, mainly in the torso section, and comes with the trailer, which I guess is probably the hot seller of this particular figure. But nevertheless, if they really don't nail that colouring of the trailer, I really do think it will be a make or break for this particular figure in terms of how accurate it will look. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please let me know down in the comment section below. And until my next video, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.